Hello everyone, my name is Asif. Before the video gets started, I just want to say I don't usually do this type of content, but when I watched this episode last night, I had so many thoughts, so many emotions, so many things that was going through my mind. I felt like a YouTube review would be perfect for this. So this is it. And just a warning, if you haven't seen season 6 episode 12 Waterworks of Better Call Saul yet, please click off this video because I will be spoiling pretty much everything. So episode 612 was titled Waterworks, and boy, did it live up to the title. This episode was depressing. That's one word for it. Not depressing in the sense that the episode was a disappointment. This episode was actually probably one of my favorites in the entire show. It's just the overall vibe of the episode and the things that went down was just very saddening to see after, building up an entire show with these characters. Just to see it all fall apart and crumble down was kind of sad. But this episode finally brought back Kim after 2 episodes, and it finally showed that she did in fact survive the Breaking Bad timeline, which is great because off the top of my head, I don't think any other Better Call Saul main character that's not already in Breaking Bad survived the end of Better Call Saul, let alone the entire Breaking Bad timeline. So that was good to see. But it was also pretty sad to see that this episode kind of wrapped up Kim's story. They showed that she was, living a decent life. She had a decent job. She wrapped things up with Jimmy and pretty much left. So I don't know if she'll appear in the next episode. Maybe if Saul gets caught, maybe she'll appear at the trial or something, but it felt like this was a pretty fitting end to Kim's story. And other than that, this episode finally showed us the Gene phone call that everybody was trying to decipher from last episode. And probably most importantly, this episode kind of shut down any happy ending theories that people had online. This is not heading towards a happy ending. You can already tell. Whatever is gonna happen, Gene, Saul, Jimmy, whatever he goes by, he's going down one way or another. And next episode, it's probably either going to be jail or death. So we have to see. So this episode starts with a cold open of Saul in his office, kind of messing around with a ball. Seems like to me he's trying to get into his Saul Goodman persona before Kim comes in so he doesn't start breaking down crying or whatever. And he's just kind of messing around. The pillar falls over, showing that his life's kind of come crashing down, well, eventually. And eventually he just tells Francesca to let Kim in, and they look like they're about to sign some divorce papers. And then we get the messed up intro, which is even more messed up than last time. I'm interested to see how the intro will be for the last episode, because it's already at the point where it's so messed up. I don't even know how they save that. And at the end of the intro, I don't know if anybody saw this, there was like a hooded figure standing kind of ominously. It was pretty scary. But I'm sure Reddit or something will probably dive into that and figure out who that is. But after the intro, we cut to Kim in black and white in the Gene timeline. And after not seeing her for a while, it was pretty jarring to see her with her hair down. I was like, whoa, this is Kim. And then after the episode, gets started a little, we kind of see that she's living a suburban life in Florida, hanging out with, other suburban moms, families. She seems to be in a relationship with this guy. I don't know if she's married to him or not, but maybe she is. And she's kind of, living a somewhat depressing but a free life away from everything in her past. And she's in Florida, and she works at Palm Sprinklers, where she seems to have a job where she's designing posters or information pamphlets about the sprinkler products that they sell at this company. And in one scene, we even see her like calling up the manufacturer to get, you know, a specific number. She's like in the engineering department looking around to get a better understanding of the products. You can tell she's taking this job very seriously. It all seems to be going fine until the receptionist calls and says that somebody named Victor with a K is calling for Kim. And that's when we all realize, okay, this is the phone call from last episode. Let's see what this phone call is finally about. So the phone call, it basically goes down where Jimmy is kind of calling Kim to see where she's at, just to let him know that he's alive, to see if she still has any cares for him left, and it seems like she doesn't. She pretty much doesn't want anything to do with Jimmy anymore. She wants to be done with him. She doesn't even want to talk to him. And this was really sad to see as a viewer because, you know, this basically confirms that there's no Jimmy and Kim happy ending at the end. And in this phone call, Kim basically tells Jimmy, yeah, I'm glad you're alive, but you need to turn yourself in. And Jimmy's like, no, he doesn't want to, he doesn't need to. And it's very sad to see. And the way Kim reacted to hearing Jimmy's voice on this phone call basically set in motion the events that take place in the Gene timeline, where he breaks into this cancer man's house and steals. He doesn't have anything to live for anymore. He wants to get caught. He needs the thrill. He's done. And Kim doesn't care about him. Nobody else will. He's done. I don't know. This is heading towards a depressing ending. Then after, you know, Kim sings happy birthday to her coworker and they all eat lunch outside, we see a shot of Kim pulling up to the airport and heading to Albuquerque. We're like, why is she heading back there? The camera pans up to the sign that says Alaska, a little reference to El Camino Jesse. Then she's, you know, on the bus heading towards the courthouse, what it seems like. Then she passes by the old toll booth where Mike used to work. And obviously Mike is dead now in this timeline. And they've automated and replaced it with the electronic toll readers where you just press the button and insert your credit card. I guess it's kind of depressing to see, but that's how the world is now. You know, times moved on, technology's evolved. And then she pulls up to the courthouse and she basically lays out everything that happened with her, Jimmy, and Howard, and how it all went down. She tells everything how it is with Lalo, Mike. She says that Howard basically is killed and his death was covered up. Everything, the truth is out. So she gives her affidavit to, I'm not sure what the person is called, but somebody at the court. And then she goes to Cheryl, gives it to her to read, and Cheryl is kind of just like, wow, why are you doing this? Is this even going to lead to anything? And she's kind of like, maybe it might, but there's no evidence of it whatsoever. The only evidence of it is my ex-husband Jimmy, who may or may not be alive. This basically confirms that in the world of Breaking Bad, you know, Jimmy is still at large. Nobody knows if he's dead or alive. He's doing a pretty good job of hiding. And this was a really sad scene next, where she's on the bus and she just starts breaking down crying. It's one of the saddest things I've ever seen on television, because it's not like a fake cry. It's real. She's on the bus trying to hold it in, and she's just sobbing, crying, screaming, just in small outbursts as to not disturb the other people. It's 5 or 6 years of built up, tension, sadness, just all gets let out in that one moment. And Rhea Seehorn, give her an Emmy, because that was amazing. Like, that made me feel sad, even though I know the show's fake. It made me feel sad. It was such good acting. And then we cut back to Gene, where we see him breaking and entering into the cancer man's house. This is a very suspenseful scene, because you're walking in, because Gene is walking in, and you're like, oh, is he alive? Is the cancer man dead? And it seems like everything's perfectly fine. The cancer man's knocked out on the floor as expected, snoring. Gene goes about the task and finds all of his credit cards, all of his bank information, all of his investment portfolio, starts taking pictures of everything. And on the Reddit thread for this episode, there was a very, very interesting detail. One of the bank statements had $737,000 on it, the exact amount that Walter White said that he needed in Breaking Bad. And this episode is directed by Vince Gilligan, so that was a pretty cool callback and a pretty cool catch by the community. And as Gene continues to go through the house, he starts to get more and more confident, or maybe it's like he's caring less and less. He just starts picking up stuff and taking it, the watches, everything else. And then they pan to the shot of the cancer man. He stops snoring, he gets up, but Gene is upstairs, so he doesn't notice. And when he looks down, he sees that he's gone, and he's in the bathroom. And Gene is about to take this urn of the cancer man's dead dog's ashes, and he's about to walk down and knock out the cancer patient with his dead dog's ashes. That sentence alone should signify that Jimmy is not getting a happy ending. Nobody who even thinks to do that is getting a happy ending. Let's be real. This man is going to jail, or he's gonna die, one or the other. And meanwhile, while Jimmy's inside the house, doing all this suspenseful stuff, Jeff is outside in his taxi, just waiting, just as Gene instructed him to. And some police roll up right behind him. It's not exactly clear whether somebody called the police because they heard Gene break in, or if they're just doing their routine patrol or something. The police kind of seem like off edge, so maybe it was just kind of a night shift thing. They're in there, they're talking about a fish tacos, really funny conversation. Then Jeff, I'm still not sure if it was either out of nervousness or out of smartness. He drives forward and crashes into another car pretty fast, and the police are like, oh, what's going on here? Then Jeff gets out of the car, and then we cut away once again. This time we cut away to color, the Saul timeline, and we see Kim inside of Saul Goodman's office. Something that, we didn't know if we were ever going to see in the show. And what is she doing? This is a depressing episode, so of course they're doing the most depressing thing. She's signing the divorce papers. And, she wants, some type of ending conversation with Saul. But Saul, in the cold open, we saw him like prepping his persona, and he just doesn't care. He's like, have a good life, Kim. get out of here. I'm over you. You know, this is done. Let's move on. And, you know, after all these two have been through, you know, throughout the show, this was very, very sad to see. And once again, this is not going to be a happy ending. I've said it a lot of times, but this episode confirms it. Then after she leaves Saul's office, kind of sad, she walks outside in typical Kim Wexler fashion. She lights up a cigarette and she's watching the rain pour down. And then the camera pans over to remove the pillar from the shot, and we see that Jesse is there. You know, Aaron Paul, the age of 42, playing a teenager. But no, he was great. He was great. It actually didn't bother me this time as much as it did in the RV flashback. He seems pretty natural and pretty into the Jesse role at this point. And, you know, a Kim Wexler Jesse Pinkman interaction, you know, Better Call Saul and Breaking Bad kind of clashing together here. And the scene was really interesting as, you know, Jesse's kind of telling her that she represented his buddy for doing something and that she must be the real deal. And she's asking him if this guy, Saul Goodman, is the real deal. Is he any good? And Kim's kind of dancing around the subject until Jesse asks it a few more times. And then she finally just says it, when I knew him, he was. That just hits really hard. That was probably one of the most impactful lines in the entire Breaking Bad universe. And to see Kim run away from Saul, run away from this life, you know, put it all behind her, and to see Jesse just kind of lingering outside, about to head down this path. It's a very cool parallel that Vince did here. One's leaving, one's going. Bravo, Vince. Then we see Gene back at his own house in black and white, of course. And he's kind of making the same drink he's been making, sitting in his reclining chair, looking at the phone, waiting for Jeff to call. Jeff calls. He pretends that Gene is his dad, and he's like, yo, man, the police arrested me. They said I broke into this guy's house because there was stuff missing at the guy's house that I was stopped in front of. And Gene is like, no, this is gonna be fine. They have no evidence whatsoever. You know, using his lawyer knowledge, and he's like, this is gonna be fine. It's gonna be all over soon enough. I just gotta pay the bail. He's gonna get Marion to pay the bail. So he hangs up on Jeff and he calls Marion. And Marion is kind of shocked because it's early in the morning and she's like, oh no, this isn't the first time this happened. And Gene's kind of trying to reassure her, but kind of slips up and lets her know that he's familiar with the laws of Albuquerque and the laws here and how they're different, and how here it's way different and it's way easier to get off for this sort of crime than in Albuquerque. And that kind of gets Marion wondering a little, and she asks about Buddy and all the other stuff. She hangs up kind of suspiciously, and we as the audience, we know what's about to go down. She heads to the computer and we're like, oh god, here it goes. She's gonna find something. She's gonna find something that shows that Gene is Saul, and this is the end. This is how it goes down. So Gene pulls up to Marion's house to pick her up to pay the bail, and Marion's on her computer with the headphones in, watching the "Hi, I'm Saul Goodman. Did you know that you have rights?" commercial. And Gene catches her, and when he opens up the computer, you see the reflection of the commercial in color on his eyes. That was one of the, like, the episode's only been out for a day, but that's probably one of the most iconic scenes in the entire, and iconic shots even in the entire Better Call Saul show, an entire Breaking Bad. That was so jarring, so special. I was like, wow, this is it. Then Gene kind of, as Marion's about to call the police, he pulls out the telephone line, kind of wraps it up in his hands like he's about to strangle her. And as the Ions were like, okay, if he strangles her, kills her, he's done. Like, he's maybe gonna live like what, another couple of months before the police find him. And if he doesn't do it, Marion's still gonna call the police either way. So either way, he's done. But he approaches her kind of sinisterly, this old woman. She pulls out her life alert and he's like, don't press it, don't press it. And you see like a bit of Jimmy come out, like a bit of his human self. And he's like, he can't do it. He can't do it. So he lets the life alert go. Marion presses it and she calls the police on Gene, who she identifies as Saul, and Saul runs out of the room on the run. And this is where the episode ends. So in the finale, Gene is probably going to be caught. I feel like Saul Goodman is such a high-level criminal at this point, and he's basically the only person in the Heisenberg case that hasn't been caught or hasn't been accounted for yet, besides Jesse, but we know Jesse's free. And you know, they're probably looking for somebody desperately to, you know, pay the price for all these, you know, terrible crimes that Walter White did. So there's probably going to be a massive police search, and I think they're going to find him. And my predictions for next episode, I think that this is heading towards a trial. You know, fitting, because this is a show about lawyers and everything like that. Saul's going to head to a trial. I feel like it would be fitting for him to try and represent himself instead of getting a lawyer. That's what he would do. And I don't know, I feel like this show is heading towards some epic courtroom showdown. You know, maybe some reference to Chuck. Maybe he tries to pull some of his channery, or however you pronounce that word, I forgot. And you know, it's gonna be something epic, something sad at the same time. I feel like he might go to jail. I'm super excited for next episode, and I don't know, if the last episode hits as hard as this one, I might do a second review breakdown. I'm all very much new to this. You know, if you could support the video, give it a like, subscribe. I guess that would show that you guys like this type of stuff, and I'll do more of it. But I just want to say thank you for watching my review, and let's see what happens.